Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. It's going to be really hard today if you're not ready to move forward in your life spiritually, uh, mentally, physically. All right, I got a guest on. I want to just bring him on so he could be in. Greetings. How are you?
Greetings to everyone. I'm fine. I'm 1 minute late, I think.
No, that's all right. I'm starting the show right now. All right, people. It's going to be a little bit breathtaking at different times, but I want to start at the beginning. Wherever you are in your life, whatever you think you're doing, you need to sit back one day and actually contemplate where you're going. What are you doing? What are you attaining? What do you expect to attain before you leave this world? All right. Many things happen in between birth and death. But I'm going to tell you the truth about it. Very little has to do with your spiritual awareness. I'm not talking about religion. Religion doesn't affect your spiritual awareness. Beliefs don't expect your spiritual awareness. Only truth does. Hold on. Let me let this. Just tell everybody who you are and where you're from, okay?
I came from Slovenia. I'm a student of Hawksblood, and usually I participate in spiritual teachings, and sometimes I even comment on a few things, but mainly he's the speaker and I am the student. Yeah. So if any questions, I can answer also.
Well, here's the thing, people. You know, we go through all these trial and tribulations. Don't mind me, I'm trying to learn how to speak, but it's not working too good. All right. Starting in the beginning, you wake up and you start to remember, start to see, start to know who you are. I mean, when you're a child, you're infected, and I mean infected by your parents, by your family, by your friends. All have zero awarenesses, no matter what they say, no matter what they believe. Very few people on this planet really care about the truth. They believe in the programs, they believe in the stories, and they don't want the truth really because they're so happy with the. I don't need my glasses. I don't know if you can see me any better, but the thing is, we got somebody else I can see. Okay, but when we go through grade school, we're learning nothing. When we get into high school, you're learning more nothing. The only thing really you need to learn is how to read and basically how to write. In the old days, very few people did either. All right. And I'm talking before Jesus, way back in Egyptian times. Not everybody could write, not anybody could read. But we're taught that, but we're not taught about life. We're not taught about death. Everybody's going to die. You're not going to live longer than 125 years, no matter how hard you try or think. As of right now, with the government, rich people playing with medicines and things, trying to live longer, they are afraid to die. People are so afraid to die, they want to push their belief system on themselves and assume they're going to go somewhere important when they die. But without the actual experience, it's useless. People want to believe. Belief is not the right word. I'll get into that a little bit later. But when we start growing and we get out of high school and we got to go to work, you start losing all touch with things because now all you have to worry about is how to get some money together, how to buy a car, and then all of a sudden you get a girlfriend, and then your life changes again. But where's your quest? What's your goal? And most people, all through history, it was to have children. And the problem with having children today and from the beginning of time, and not the beginning, I'll say, and I always use the word after Atlantis, uh, children have very little. As they grow into teenagers and they're out there in mainstream now, they have nothing to look forward to, really. Getting a better job, making more money. Why? Why is everything based on money? Because, I mean, it was said many times, money's the root to all evil, and it is. But when people believe money's important, it destroys all morals. There are no morals left in our society today, in any country. And many other countries have reverse morals, meaning they do the opposite of good. They do as much bad as they can. Killing is not a part of morals. I mean, if you're doing it, it's going against all morals that exist, even though people don't accept them. Most children, if you ask them what morals mean, they have no clue. Morals are something that should be taught and learned and everything else, but how many people even know what they are as far as adults go? When adults start talking and they get involved with other people, there's only a few things in conversation: sports, sex, and drugs. Now, take that further. Where does that get anybody? Nowhere. When you hang out with people that are in the same place, you still get nowhere. You know, they always say hang out with the people you want to be like. All right. If you're hanging out, I'm not going to get into all the details. It's common sense. You can figure that out. Who you hang with becomes part of your reality. You accept it, it becomes part of your reality. If you're in a bad situation, you protect yourself from it. How many people even know anything about protection? I mean, it's physical protection, psychic protection, and spiritual protection. Well, the only thing that mankind has gotten right, soul is protected spiritually when they attain it, not before. Because, you know, people that follow the religions, and the two most populated religions believe in God, all right? And they believe they're protected. They believe all these things, but it has nothing.
And if I can say, before you mentioned that we should be hanging with people that we want to become, I'm thinking that, you know, you did so many shows until now and invited so many people, and always they're watching you. But you know what would be really cool? If we could add like 10 squares here and 10 people here talking to each other. The more people talking about these things, the more like enlightened they get into which way they should be living.
No, I will disagree with you. Sorry, because now mankind, when Jesus spoke, he was interrupted by many people, but none of those people had any truth to offer, and he's given them pure truth. So when somebody's given you, you don't interrupt your teacher ever. Uh, Unless, like you said, you raise your hand and you feel like you really have an important question to put in there. People, when they bring more people in, especially a show like this, you get more interruptions. I get more stupid comments and things when I let people say things in the chat room, and I tell them only pertaining to the subject we're talking about.
Yes,
So
yes, that I know. I know what you mean, but I just thought maybe the same-minded people, let's say five.
there's no same-minded people. All
No.
right, nobody on this planet thinks like I do, and that's not ego. I've been out there for 70 years. I dealt with people at every level. I dealt with the UFO world, which is another world that's crashing. The spiritual worlds. I studied with 3 religions in the beginning, and I went into 14 religions. None of those people have a clue. So there's only 2 religions on this planet that have a clue about spiritual growth, and they're even possessed by having a super master. Jesus never said he was a master like everybody claims he was. He was a teacher. He only gave the truth. Now, when people followed him, he told them straight out. Because he said, "Well, why don't you do this?" He's not. It's not about him. It's about what you accept, what you open up to, and what you bring into your reality. Now, people as a group never have a good conversation. The old saying: "Get 100 people, put them in a circle, tell them a sentence. By the time it gets to the other side, it's a totally different sentence." Mankind can only retain awareness for less than 45 minutes. And at that point, even then, he starts losing everything that's being said. So I used to try to do my shows for 2 hours, but then I realized people can't understand anything after an hour. They're like mind boggled and they're out there in left field. But more people have to interfere. I was with my best friend who was one of the top speakers in the UFO world, and he used to lecture. He was a genius. But you always get these rude people cutting in and trying to say something stupid or what they believe and everything else. Uh, if you're trying to find the truth, you don't tell your truth to the people that's trying to hear it. All right. And most people, I haven't met one person yet that could talk any further than where I go with what I'm teaching. I mean, that's bragging in some way for most people, but I try to find people that are aware. All right. And I know they're not. And when people say, well, there's a lot of aware people, I said, name one spiritual person on this planet. I don't say I'm spiritual. I never do. If I was, I wouldn't be here. There's no reason to stay in hell if you can't do anything other than be part of it. All we do here is mold in the bacteria of this planet and create more. We destroy it every day. And we claim we're spiritual. We claim we're aware. We claim we're six-dimensional beings. And now people think aliens are super spiritual and they're going to come save them. They're in a delusion. And there's only one entity that's in charge of all that. And it's not God. And it's not Lucifer. It's Satan. And Satan has an army, multiple entities underneath him. All right. And they all harvest and take over a person's brain consciousness without their awareness. Possession has grown incredibly. Even the Pope himself hired 1,500 people a couple of years ago because he couldn't keep up with the idea, and he really couldn't do exorcisms. Exorcism doesn't happen because you say you know Jesus. There's a lot. I did it. I was involved with it. There's a lot more to that than what is shown on TV and the movies. Watch the new one. It's really incredible compared to The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, the new one that just came out. Watch it. Learn about things. Learn about what's really going on this planet. And then you could say, oh, I'm spiritual, while children down the road are starving, being abused, being taken. And you hide behind that, saying, oh, the world's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, the song, it's beautiful in its own way. It is, but it's also ugly in a real way. Meaning, this is hell. This is the only place a human that has a soul inside it experiences pain, suffering, sees it, and creates it. On the astral plane, which is the world you go to when you die, but most people don't stay there, it doesn't exist. You can't kill somebody there. And that changes your karma, changes everything instantly, because you can't do the things that you can do here. Here you're given total freedom. Why? God gave us freedom for a reason. Not to kill each other, not to destroy reality, but to move forward. And nobody does. So what I want to talk a little bit more, when we'll get into it in a little while, about where we're going to go if we leave here. Why? Why would we want to? Most men might not ever want to move forward. Because, when you start getting closer to the other worlds that God created for us, you're no longer male or female. And that means no more sex. All right. And the number one thing on this planet is sex. All through history since the beginning of time. And it doesn't bring you closer to God. God's not male or female. It doesn't care about sex. It doesn't have sex. All right. So when we assume that we can do kundalini and create energy and become spiritual, why? Because your mind says you feel good? It's not like that, people. There's a lot more going on this planet than people have an awareness to. Why aliens are coming here now? There's a big reason for that. And the government can't talk about it, but they don't want to talk about the real things that happen. Nobody does, not even in the UFO world. All right, Satan's army has grown, and they affected all the alien races that are coming here as well. So people think you're going to get saved and all these other words. Being saved only comes from inside you. When you're ready and when you go forward within that space. But how do you get into that space? Are you ready to move into that space? Do you care what you have to do to get into that space? These things are important, because if you're not ready to do all those things, you can't get into it. You can't become spiritual because you say you want to be spiritual. All right. I spent much of my time in different religions trying to find something important. All religions, all paths, all tribes have very little truth about a God. Now, and this, I know it might sound like religion, but it is not. Jesus was the only one that came to this planet to teach about a real God, one singular God. All of the history, it was multiple gods, deities, all right, and entities as well. And an entity can change form and become anything you want. And I'm teaching people how to understand when you get channeled or in front of a creature, entity, being, to make sure you know it's safe and right. Because here, things can attack you, like the government, armies, people. In the inner worlds, it's different. You are protected. Soul is eternal. All right? Soul's eternal right now. Your body's not. And just because you're not aware of that doesn't mean it's not. But if you're not aware of that, it doesn't mean a thing. Without awareness, you're useless. And I'm not talking universal consciousness.
So,
Consciousness is another word made and created by a certain particular being. All right.
so
And it's accepted. Go ahead.
can I ask just what would then be suggested for the most common people of the world is the first step towards being spiritual? Like, what is the first stepping stone to be on the way to do
The
that?
only way that can happen is inside yourself, you feel that you don't have what you need. You're not getting what you truly need. And that's God's love. You don't get it. It's not given to everybody. They assume it is and pretend it's there. When you go out and get hit by a car, oh, God loved me. Your son just got killed. Oh, God loves me. No, it doesn't. You're in hell. You're put here for a reason, not because you're under God's protection. You're anything but right now. Until you start looking for a spiritual path, does God send angels down to help work with you? All right. And people don't even believe in angels. So guess what? They're never going to connect to the inner worlds in the right direction. Drugs will put you into the lower dimensions and stuff like that, but it won't get you into any spiritual place. Oh, I just met God. No, you didn't. Not because you're hallucinating, not because you're on drugs. All right. You may believe you did, and it's all a matter of belief and not experience. When you talk to new people, most people will not listen. You say one thing that doesn't fit into their box, they don't want to hear it. Jesus walked the whole part of the area where he was. How many people believed in him? How many people didn't? But in the end, even the people that believed in him helped kill him. How spiritual were they? All right. And I use his name not as he was a God because he never said he was God. All right. He was a human with a soul, but his soul was completely aware, which our souls are not. All right. That being said, he had direct communication, inner communication, which people say they have. But even the guy who wrote Conversation with God, really? Oh, God says love this and love. And love is not the answer for reality. It never was. After Atlantis was destroyed, love disappeared. Love did not resurface until Jesus came into reality. Love did not exist anywhere on this planet. It wasn't an accepted word. Women were not loved by any aspect. Men had compassion for them and used them, but it wasn't true love. So when we go further into that, you're going to try to see what I'm trying to teach you in a simple way. It's when you're ready. You know, they are saying, when you're ready, the teacher will appear. If you're not ready, the teacher will never appear. And that's what happens to most people. Religion is not a teacher, it's a program. I mean, all those things that people say, this, that, and the other, it's a program. It's an accepted idea. It's not an experience and it's not direct. Oh, I stood before Jesus, I stood before God, and this happened. You know, how come when it's a good thing, God did it, and when it's a bad thing, oh, God didn't do that? Well, God doesn't do anything to us here. We do it to ourselves. We create karma. People need to learn two important words, karma and reincarnation. If they don't accept those two words, they're never going to be able to move forward, meaning their actions are completely responsible for the next step in their spiritual growth.
Yes,
If they're not aware of that, they will never grow. They will never stop creating karma. Now, and it happens everywhere. just about every family abuses, husband and wife abuse their children. When they stay together or when they separate, the child always gets the abuse. You don't move forward spiritually from abuse. Well, I have to admit, I did, but there's many reasons why I did. All right, I was searching for God when I was 6 years old. I wasn't waiting until the priest, I went to my minister and asked him about God because he didn't know a thing. No minister, no rabbi, no pope, none of these people can talk about God. None of them can. Nobody in the UFO world can or does. When they mention, oh, Jesus said this, they don't know what he really said. They know what some man wrote about what he said. Experiencing the truth is the only way you can get to move forward. But you have to open a doorway for that to happen. You have to be prepared to let go. Let go of everything you possess, own, and think is yours, including your life. I had a teacher, and he would say to me all the time, it's not about you. And I said, it's about me because I'm the only thing that matters. Well, in a way it is, in a way it isn't. Because you're the one that makes the decisions to do what you do, not anybody else. There's a right way and a wrong way.
There
And
was,
I said,
can I add just a small story which I read on some Native American site, but it's good. It's about a woman that was washing clothes at the river, and suddenly she found a very precious gem, like a stone, really beautiful and expensive. She put it in her bag, and later that same afternoon, a man came by and saw that stone, and he asked her to give it to him. And she said, no problem, here, there you have it. And he took it and he went off. He thought now he's going to be rich. He thought this is really great finding and it will change his life. But in 2 days' time, he returned to that woman and he said, I want to give you this stone back. And for exchange that you tell me, how did you gain this ability to get rid of it so lightly? So that is the kind of lesson that when you find this precious stone, it's more of a test if you can be unattached to what is pretty and expensive, and if you can just gain that ability to give up things like that, not to be attached in this world. So I think it's a good lesson that he wanted ability instead of the stone. And this woman had ability because stone meant nothing to her, although it was beautiful and expensive. It's like kind of lesson for these times to people.
well, thank you. When you start and you start unfolding little by little and you give up everything, all right, it's a showing you of yourself, who you are, what you're made of. But here's the thing, without further steps, that path leads nowhere. If you don't search out the ultimate, you'll never find it. Wherever you put your footstep, and if you're happy there, it's not going to help you unfold. People that think they attain God enlightenment and all these words, God realization, what is their next step? What do they think? Oh, I know everything, I can do everything. Well, I mean, I stepped there, but then what? Where do you go from there? I'm starting a new book. I just have to start it in an emergency as well. But here's the thing, people. When I put something here on this planet, it's pure, it's true, and it's probably more important than almost any other thing that comes against it. But people don't want that. All right. When you talk about giving up, some people have an awareness that if I give and give and give, God will watch me and take me in, and all those kind of words. Uh, without without the idea of ego, and giving is an important thing. I mean, Bezos gave $100 million to the other island, Maui, but he owns 78 acres there. He's worried about his property value. So sure, he's going to help make it better. But then you got people like Oprah and Mr. Rock. They donated $5 million. $5 million, and Oprah donated pillars out of her money, which is even not even 1% of 1% of her money. People, and Jesus said it many times. I'm not going to go into it, but basically, rich people never move forward. There's no reason for them to. They have everything they think they want and desire. So when you reach beyond desire, then you're starting to get into a real world of spirit and beyond the idea of programmed ideas. Because when you think being good or being this, listening to people's stories is great. And they had a meaning. But if you truly don't understand it, it doesn't help. If it doesn't affect you and change the way you think, it's useless. I could talk for days and days, but if people don't listen, doesn't matter. Look at, and I have to relate to Jesus because he taught to thousands and thousands of people at a time. How many people really listened? When he said one word to his people that got healed, and he would say, "Go out and sin no more." Do you know what these people did the next day? It happens on a reservation. It happens everywhere. I mean, I was on a reservation, and we did ceremony, the most highest sacred ceremony. And the thing that most of them did the day after was not part of it and not right. And that's called going out drinking. Native people have a serious problem with drinking. But right after sacred ceremony, men and young children drinking, all right? That is wrong. You can't do it for 7 days after ceremony. I mean, even tribes, when they talk about purity and all these things, it's days of not doing something. But to go out and just do it right after is so bad to your own karma. But nobody's better on this planet, no matter what religion, no matter what they're doing. Even killing's wrong. But how long will it take mankind to realize it's not accepted in God's world? And that's why you're here. All right. I mean, all we hear is all the wars starting and everything that's happening. Why? They're basically religious wars, not God wars. They're religious wars on programs, people fighting over programmed ideas. And the world's deteriorating. The word spiritual doesn't exist for most people. And I guarantee it didn't exist for the person that wrote the word down for the first time. What he assumed was spiritual, like the man who wrote Conversation with God. He considers himself one of the most spiritual people on the planet. Anybody could talk to God. How many people think God really listens? Your mind will tell you, oh, God said this, God said that. It won't. God doesn't come into hell. Why should it? If you ever watched the movie Lucifer, it's an interesting idea and effect how Satan comes out from inside the earth to teach up on here. But the idea, what we are programmed to believe, even about Satan, Jesus stood with it for a long period of time. He couldn't kill it. Nobody can. Not in this reality. God could take it out in a second if it wanted to. And it doesn't, people. Because you got the choice. Free will to truth or the free will to lies. Only two choices. It's called right or wrong. Oh, there's no such thing as right. Well, stab somebody, see if it's right. Kill your child, see if it's right. Save 10 people from drowning, see if that's right. You'll learn if you try or try to understand the idea that there is no right and wrong. Hurting somebody is always wrong, no matter who says it, who does it for any reason. Killing is wrong under any circumstances. People, when we start a spiritual quest, look at yourself. Are you prepared to move from the space you're in to a better space? And here's the thing, people. The other thing that stops people from moving forward, because when you make that decision, when you bring it into your reality will get harder. Sorry, people. It's not like everything's good because now I'm spiritual. No, it doesn't change. It doesn't make things better. If you understand the true facts of life and how it changes things, when you're supposedly saying you're spiritual now, it doesn't change the way you assume it will. People around you are going to still die. People are going to get hurt. People are sick. And wow, I'm spiritual. Now what? What are you doing for them? Well, I know what I can do, and most people can't. I don't do it often, and I try not to. Because, when you do anything spiritual in this reality, You have to make 100% sure that it's coming from the higher level than the lower level. Psychic abilities were taken away because mankind couldn't use them wisely anymore. They cannot today. All these psychic healers out there are fake. Even in the Bible, if they ever read Revelations, all the false prophets, all the false speakers will come out and convince and program and try to change reality into something evil, not better. Saying God loves us. Okay, now what? God protects you. From what? See, you can answer your own questions. And if you can't do that, you're not ready to move forward. Because if you're answering everybody else's questions, you're never going to get to the truth of who you are. All right? When you go into this world, when you're 20, 25, and you're working, what are you doing now? What's different than when you were 12 years old? At least when you were young, you had an awareness of spirit, and nobody could help you understand it, so it slowly drifts away. Young children can see angels, they can see demons, they can see everything. But without a teacher, they don't know what they see. And most parents, almost all parents, are not teachers, especially on anything spiritual. Again, religion has nothing to do with spiritual, and people that say they're spiritual has nothing to do with the truth. So man follows lie after twisted truth since 150,000 years ago, and we are worse off now than we were then. So people, when you say, "Oh, I'm spiritual," what does it mean to you really? What are you doing? What can you do? And why are you here? You changing the world for what? The few people that changed the world did not change to make it better. All right? Starting with Tesla. All his inventions are going to destroy the planet. Going back to Noah and the Ark. See, people don't understand. Oh, he took all the animals in. He took 112 animals, different different species, onto the boat. And now science is, well, he had to take a test tube of its DNA and ridiculous ideas because that didn't exist in that time frame. Aliens weren't involved with it either. All right, people take their twisted ideas of who's what and where and why. The Egyptians were not spiritual ever. They followed sick, perverted, twisted deities. And by that, just look at their history. Look at what they believe about reincarnation. Look at their writings. But if you go into caves, you can see dinosaurs with humans, which actually is true. And I'm not talking about cavemen. Humans came here a long time ago. But they had very little awareness of anything. So awareness isn't just something you jump into because you feel like it. And you have to understand and know what it means and why you would want to retain it. If it's not going to do anything for you, why would you want to retain it? A man that's totally into sex, knowing that by the third realm, he's no longer male or female, why would he want to do that? Men hate women in their center of their ego. They're slaves to them, and they always have been. And that will keep a person from unfolding right there alone. I mean, my new book's coming out, and it's for women only. But it's for women to understand men and their ego. All right? Man lives on programmed ideas, sick programmed ideas handed down by their father, grandfather, and great-great-grandfathers. The native people, the African people, tribal people live like cannibals. They live eating and dying. They do nothing else. The sacred ceremonies is always trying to do a healing. All right? That's it. They try to heal people. The medicine man is given credit because he knows about herbs. He knows which herbs are better than which ones are not. But the miracle people, the people, the false shamans that go around healing people, pulling guts out of them and pulling the poisons out of their body, are very deceitful. One wanted me to work with her. She wanted me to come out to her retreat. She charges $10,000 for a healing. All right? But if it doesn't work the first time, she'll let you have a second treatment. But I was in a room of 30 people, and she went around the room healing everybody in that room. The third person was possessed, and she made her stand up on the floor, and she had my friend put his hands on her back, and she blew breath into him and went into her, and she was going crazy until the spirit left. But as she went around the room and she came to me, she said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." That was the first thing she said. I didn't have to say a word to her. And she said, "Sorry, I can't help you." Then she went to the next person. She put her in her arms and this, and went over to her and made a cancer come out of her body. I'm not saying how the magic works. I'm not going to go into magic. I was a magician as well. Two kinds of magicians. But here's the thing. Everyone out there, including Sai Baba, used magic tricks to win people over. All through history, the spiritual people that were supposed to be spiritual used magic because they knew the cycle of the moon, they knew the cycle of the sun, they knew things, they knew signs of what a disaster when a storm's coming, and you prophesied, you become super powerful in their mind. The Bible definition of God is super powerful. So if you have an ability, you're God, and that's the definition of man today, and not even close to what it really is because they don't know power here on this planet. Nobody has the power to destroy Satan. So how powerful are they really? Can you build a pyramid in a day? All right. Do you know why they even built a pyramid? And people keep going on and on about that. It was an alien race. I mean, giants lived here. Has nothing to do with spiritual growth. Has nothing to do with God. And the teachings that were fed to them by aliens were twisted truth. They don't know God. They never knew Jesus. And they still don't. I was trying to meet with a woman from Venus, and there was 7 people on this planet supposedly that came from Venus. And the only thing I wanted to ask her what she knew about Jesus, and she said her people said he was an alien. Her people said he was an alien because they didn't know him. And in the UFO world, Billy Myers came out way back. He was one of the first people in the UFO world, showing UFOs over his house, and he said he was working with the aliens and stuff. But did he do anything important at all for the world? Zero. In the interim, he put false things and started making things up to make them look better. See, people, all they care about is their ego. They don't care about what affects the planet, what helps the planet. Nothing we're doing is helping us. I've been writing letters to Musk every day, 10 at a time, 10 in a day. I've been writing letters to Mr. Trump now. He's in Twitter, people. All right? I'm sure his cronies are on underneath him as well. But you know, we're in a sad time. We got sad people in government. We got sad people in the world. We got warring, sick people. And you think you're in heaven? You think you're going to go to heaven because you agree with what's happening? Agreeing with the crime makes you a criminal. All right, no matter what the crime is. You accept something, it's also part of your karma that you help create. Again, you don't get ready to leave this world until you let go of karma. I mean, stop making it. Knowing how you make it, how you don't make it, how to help remove it. And you can't buy your way out. You can't pay it off. You don't go to the bank, take out money, and say, I'm going to pay off my karma. Here's some money. I mean, these rich people can't. They don't even know anything about a real God. If they did, they would never be multi-billionaires. It goes against all spiritual laws. People, you know, we have very little truth on this planet. And I know people don't like to hear it. And I don't have followers because most people are afraid of it. They're afraid they'll lose who they are. When Jesus told his disciples to leave their family and their children, why would he tell them that? People in the Bible that read the Bible have no clue. All right? Again, if you want the truth, it's there. It's inside you. It's nowhere else. Nobody, no race, no tribe, no walking being around on this planet is going to help you find it. All right? I can only give you a way to get to the doorway. It's up to the person to go through that door, to pick the right door, and to follow the right thing when they go through it. Because if you follow anything that's standing there, when you meet your so-called angels, guides, who is it? Why? What are they there for? What are they going to show you? Well, go somewhere with them. See where they take you. See what you learn. All right? The second you see negativity of any form, death, murder, killing, suddenly you'll realize where you are. But again, all the deities, angels I work with, never brought me to planet Earth to teach me. Never. There's nothing on Earth that can help you be a better soul when you get to the astral plane. Well, I saved 10 people. I saved this. Save the planet. A healer. Oh, I can heal anybody. Well, heal the planet. They can't. So the old saying, if you could levitate a rock, you can levitate a mountain. All right. But then again, people in the UFO world, Caroline Corey, claimed she could levitate a piece of paper. Wow. Prove it. And then why can't you levitate a car? You know, it's limited awareness. And then when you get psychic abilities, they get abused and they're taken away. I had to ask for mine to be taken away because walking this planet's scary. If you look at people's auras, you see darkness. You don't see light. In my whole life, I only saw 3 people that had light radiating from them. It wasn't the master of a religion. It wasn't this person. It wasn't that person. Somebody I never met who walked in to give a speech. An old little lady. And you know, here's something that happens. Anybody in the light, aware, sees anybody else in the light, they know it. All right? It's a given. So I'm not going to go into my stories about that. I don't have much time. Like I said, I don't want to make this too long today. But we need to get ready for the first step, and that's getting ready to leave your body. This body is only a simple means of transportation around in hell. As long as you stay in hell, you need a vehicle to travel around in it. And that's called your body. And that body needs a car, a plane, a boat, and everything else to get around. But you don't. Yes, the body doesn't need any of that. If you get to stay there, you'll work a lot different. It gets better. The closer you become to awareness and truly becoming aware, the things you will experience get better. Not here. It doesn't get better here. Ever. We're destroying the planet. Look, how many people die in a week now? Every week for the past 2 months. Think about it. We have 150,000 people die every day. 300,000 are born every day. They're big numbers. But multiply them by what's happening now. It's horrible. People, you want to walk a path, make a decision to do it. The only problem is you got to follow through with that decision. It's not a one-day decision. It's not a one-year decision. It's forever. Forever is a long word. Infinity is a long word. But unless you can make a commitment like that, it's not going to happen. Because if you go to the astral plane and come back here, it's starting all over. There's a hawk screeching out my window right now. I don't know if you can hear it. But people, you know, there's beautiful things here in its own way. A hawk's beautiful. But I watched a hawk kill 3 birds in a tree. I was so sad for the birds. The hawk's just sitting there like this. A little bird comes by. They're trying to like that. He starts eating them. And 2 other birds come to attack him, and he whacks them. Hawks can only fight on the ground. They can't fight in the air. So if they get that hawk to fly in the air, 2 little sparrows can chase a hawk. And they do. They do it all the time to protect their egg, to protect their chicks. So in this world, we're really much like animals. We'll protect our children. Sure. But then again, why will we go to war to kill other people's children? We're a sick breed. We have been since Atlantis went down. But can we change it? Can we change everybody? Is everybody willing to change? No. Does everybody want to change? No. They're going to go down with the ship. All right. Rather than getting everybody off the ship and getting off the ship. You're going to go down with the ship. But that's not where you need to be focused. We have time, whether it's a day, a week, a year, 10 years. You have time to take a step forward in spiritual growth. That's not a lot of time, really, but it's a time to at least start your ball rolling in the right direction. When you go into meditation, when you go into your prayers and everything else, what are you asking for? Money, house? Sure, things are bad. Oh, protect me. Oh, we do it out of desperation. Not because we're aware of God. We're just desperate. When you're on your dying bed, oh, suddenly, God, help me, save me. All their life, they didn't even think about God. But when they see their life passing before them and knowing that it's just about over, the fear comes in. There should be no fear of death. Zero fear. Because you're going to go to a better place. Even if it's going to reincarnate, it's still better at that moment because you're going to get to go to the astral plane for a while, which is 1,000 times better than being here. But when you reincarnate, you're going to have to take that awareness with you when you come back, which is very seldom happens for most people here either. Because as a child, your awareness is taken away by your parents. Oh, you don't see spirits. Oh, you don't see this. Oh, you don't see that. Because they can't. You get programmed by people that have no awareness to become just like them. I was never accepting of my parents, never accepting of anything. When you accept things, you're accepting the lie. God doesn't exist here. God doesn't come into hell. Most people want to believe in the universe, the God, stars, the moon, the sun, all things that reflect things to this reality. This reality is a body that eats. The astral body doesn't have to eat. The astral body doesn't have to be a certain age. It's incredible when you step into that compared to here. You pick an age you want to be, and it's usually 26, 36. All right, you can change gender. You can be male or female if you want. But again, when you come back here, and that's what's happening to society, if you were a girl in your last lifetime and you're in a man's body in this lifetime, you don't understand it. People don't want to hear that. Oh, they got a serious mental problem. No, it's not that. Most mental people, what called mentally retarded, mentally disturbed, is because they don't accept reality. They don't fit into the pattern of what we have to believe in to live here. Remember, when a group of people make a decision, you have to accept it. Congress controls what we think and do, and we accept it. Why? Jesus said, if the laws are unjust, you change them. And people don't do that. Women never did. They stayed the victim. We move forward spiritually when we start focusing on beyond this reality. When we look for what we're going to do, what we're going to be, how we're going to do things in that reality. You're not confined to a body. Imagine that. You don't need a plane to fly through the air. You don't need a submarine to go underwater. All these things that you have to do here. Soul is eternal, but it's not anything that can be destroyed. Fire, water. I mean, Dante's Inferno said that hell, you do all these different things. You can't freeze soul. You can't cut it in half and you can't burn it. So when you realize what you are as soul, you can take another step forward. But until you do, you can't. To think this reality is important in any way is the delusion. It's a delusion and an illusion, both. All right? To think you're aware being. Aware of what? God loved you? You think that's an awareness? What is awareness, people? Are you ready to focus on the truth behind the word? I ask people what spiritual mean. Nobody can answer it. Nobody. Hold on one second. Do you want to say something?
Okay, yes.
Let me let this guy out. Come on. Go, Mr. Gills.
I just wanted to add that it would be nice if everyone should be more and more aware of themselves and what they do. as the first step toward being a better person, maybe toward being spiritual one day. But it's just so many things that is happening in the world right now, and I don't think people are able to focus on that. They're always focusing, like you said, on money, on what they can get, on jobs, on better life for themselves to compete with neighbors and all this. But
Well, the 5 things that keep man here. All right, I'm going to give you the technical words: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. My words are drugs, smoking, drinking, partying, cheap thrills, cheap sex, and false love. That's what keeps man here. That's all they desire. They don't desire anything else. They don't desire to understand God, what they'll do in a higher realm, or anything like that. Nobody does even talk about it. Unless you hear something, oh, the beautiful cities, that's where you can go. Sure, sure, that's on the third plane. But that's still another attention grabbing your awareness from who and what you really are. As you get closer to God, your aspect of who and what you are changes constantly. You have 5 bodies. All right, the physical body, which is what you're in. You move into your astral body when you're on the astral plane. You move into your mental body when you're on the mental plane. And your etheric plane is when you move into that body as well. But when you cross over into the soul plane, you are true soul, what you truly are as a soul. But that's not the limit, that's not the end. Very few souls will ever move beyond that because they don't need to or don't want to. But you can. God never gave a restriction to soul as far as what it wants to do or grow into. But you can't get into those realms until you're pure, truly pure of heart, and not this bump, 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 bump heart, the real heart of what's going on in soul. But when you get into the higher worlds, you've got plenty of things to do. It's not like here, what can you do? Nothing. Make a loaf of bread, make a shoe, make a car. What else can you do? Physical things. Nobody's psychic enough to do anything important psychically. I mean, predict one thing here and there, that's trivial. But if you can predict 1 minute into the future at any given time, then you become aware of a real psychic ability, but nobody can. All right? It's been taken away because mankind just abused everything we had. In Atlantis, we had 32 psychic abilities. Every one of us did. You couldn't lie, you couldn't cheat, couldn't steal. You didn't eat animals. And you did not kill. All right? So you couldn't lie. It was incredible. But alien races didn't like that at all. They came down and destroyed the whole race. So people, and then they reprogram it into big killers. And we have been for over 125,000 years. People, the mind can be reprogrammed. And there's techniques to take the thoughts that are in there and re-ramp them, take them out and reprogram it. It's just like a computer. You can take a chip out and put a new one in. But like my students, I tell them, it's 30 days. One of the greatest speakers in the United States said 21 days. I said, no, 30 days. Because you're really committing to something when you at least commit 30 days. And the longer you commit to it, the better it gets. And I don't mean you suddenly get money coming into your house and all these cool things. You get a new car, get a boat, and have 10 children. No, that has nothing to do with spiritual growth. Now, man believed that they needed a son because they had to carry their name on. Names were important to people all through history. And that's only a part of ego, not a part of spiritual growth. And you're programmed with that over and over. Are you ready to let go of all that? Do you really want to move forward? Why? Please, anybody that's listening to the show, my email, I'll put it up online. It's hawksblood1@aol.com or howtoseegod@aol.com. Write me your answer or question. Tell me what it is for you. Because people say, well, I want, what do you want? What do you want to attain? What do you think you're here for? Very few people have a clue. Well, you bring things into your reality, like your children and things. Yes, they're your responsibility for as long as you are alive. When you die, you are no longer responsible for them or can help them. Oh, my grandfather helped me in this. My grandmother, my mother, my brother's dead, but he helped me. No, you don't become an angel because you die. You don't. People want to put so much faith. Anything that happens, the light bulb blows out. Oh, that's my son or my brother. We want to make everything fit into what we are programmed to believe. None of it fits the word spiritual. Understanding God itself, why it would allow us to be like this. You go to kindergarten, then you go to first grade, then you go to high school, then you go to college. And where did that get you? You get a better job, make more money. Did it help you find God at all? My brother went to a Catholic college. St. Peter's College is a Catholic college. And they have one class teaching about religion and another class teaching about not religion, meaning all why how it couldn't happen, why it didn't happen and all. And it's always a contradictory because nobody has any truth. If you accept the lies of people, you will never get nowhere. I tell my students, it's only you that can move forward. You have to find the way. You have to open the door. You have to walk through it. You have to do the work. Not me, not anybody else. And nobody's going to help you do that. I mean, they can give you help and guidance, but it's you that do all the work. People, I don't know, you remember Dobie Gillis, and the one guy would go, work, work, and jump up when he heard the word work. People like that are here in Hawaii. Nobody wants to work here in Hawaii. They're out grubbing vegetables and fruits from people's trees and stuff, living in the woods and under a whatever. We got the highest amount of homeless people here. And Hawaii brags about taking care of its own. They don't, and they won't, and they didn't when the fire happened. People, it's time you need to search out the truth. The truth that's inside yourself and around you. Can you move out of that space of being a know it all and think you know the truth and accept it? Nothing you have in your brain you should accept right now. Can you describe God in any form, shape, color, or anything? All right. Not what you assume, what you experienced of it. All right. When you experience a deity, what color was it? How big was it? What could it do? Did that impress you? I mean, an evil spirit, an evil entity can come to you, take on any form it wants, and say, "Well, I'm everything you search for." That's all they can say. They can't say they're God, but they'll say, "Oh, I am what you need. I will show you the way." The way to where? All right. Even in the inner worlds, you're still going to be under attack. Jesus was talking about all of that, and the people didn't understand it. But when he talked about the angels falling from heaven, how'd that happen? You know, God created a system of levels of awareness so that the beings from this hell can't go into the higher worlds and destroy it. All right, when the angels started fighting, they were all cast out. The Council of Nine that exists in the Astral world, they fight all the time, but they're down as low as they can go, and they work with all the people in hell. So guess what? Are they as spiritual as everybody believes the Council of Nine is? They're not. Now, not every tribe, every race believes in that, but it exists for real. They control the universe, the solar systems, and things like that. All right. But there's alien races trying to do the same. Anything that somebody can do, somebody else wants to try to do it, including what God does. So ego is always there, always in play. And that's why Satan's allowed to stay here. It'll enforce that in your own mind that it's right to do and believe what you want. But you can't, and you shouldn't. Now, I I'm sorry, I'm going to drag everything out because for you to understand it, you have to understand all the aspects around it and what it is. If you want to move forward, you have to let go. When you know the old saying, like, okay, you're facing a door in front of you. To open the door, you got to pull it towards yourself. It doesn't open out. So when you're pushing on that door, you think it's going to open? Of course not. So as long as you're willing to push on a door, you're never going to get anywhere. You have to step back. Spirit knows your energy and what you're doing and what's going to happen with you, but you don't. But to accept that and know that that's a reality for your guides that will work with you, it becomes incredibly different. So, uh, with this today, I hope you got something out of it. I want you to start writing notes for yourself because when you look at your own words, it becomes real. Talking blah, 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 and not even caring is useless. But whatever it is, when you think about God, when you think about realization and what it means to you, write it down and then read it. Read it 2 or 3 times. Oh, I believe this. You probably don't even know what you believe until you write it down. Do you believe in God? And what is that God to you? And oh, it's the man that sits up there and watches us and blah, blah, blah. That's a program. What do you believe in, really? What are you going to believe in when you're on your dying bed? Where do you think you're really going to go? And that's all that matters, birth and death. The game in between is called life. But the afterlife is much more important than life because the afterlife is eternal with awareness. Otherwise, you come back to birth and death and start the cycle over and over. And you do that hundreds of times, people. Not once, twice, hundreds. And you're still at square one. How's that possible? Why, after many lifetimes, a lot of people here they're still out there killing each other. All right. Awareness is the hardest thing, the hardest path you can choose in this reality. All right. Because you have to face everything that's a lie, everything in this reality. But until you can make that commitment to yourself, will it ever happen? So, people, you might be calling me this, that, or anything. It's not about what you think I am. It's what you think you are, and who you think, and where you think you're going to go, and all that. Because no matter what I say, it doesn't matter until you realize and experience something that's going to be important to you. And each one of those experiences should be your next stepping stone to move forward, not backwards. If you abuse any of the things that you get, guess what? And people that take psychic abilities and abuse them, claiming they're a healer. You can't say things about God if you don't know God. You can't say things about Jesus if you don't know Jesus. For me personally, I knew Jesus. I knew Mary Magdalene. They were the only one of my only lifetimes that were important. All the other ones were not, except for Atlantis. But all the other lifetimes, useless. Becoming a priest, a minister, rabbi, sitting on a reservation. All these things did not help one aspect of spiritual growth. I mean, animals have nothing to do with your growth. Trees have nothing to do with your growth. The ocean has nothing to do with your growth. It's all inside you, inside your soul. And your mind's a program. And it's going to try to stop everything you think you know to the program that's fit into the computer. Tell your computer to fly. What's it going to do? Fly? No. Tell your subconscious you want to fly. You can. So, there's a right way and a wrong way to look at everything. And people choose to look at the program the wrong way. But it's time, people. You're running out of time. And you really need to face the facts that, okay, if you don't start now, you probably never will in this lifetime. The people out there are taking more control. You're losing more control of every aspect of your own free will. AI will tear apart the world, and the government's going to allow it. People, my partner just pulled up a computer. He goes, look at this. There's somebody on my computer that's doing everything that I do. It was a cartoon head. She went up, the cartoon on the cell phone's doing that. She goes like this. The program AI on a computer on a cell phone is doing it. AI is going to be a lot worse because it's not make believe, and it's not artificial. Is the word they gave it. It's real. It's real intelligence, and it was created a long time ago. I mean, in the old days, they didn't have to deal with stuff like that because we weren't playing with it. We didn't allow it into our reality. But now people think they want to know everything. Oh, difference between an atom, proton, a neutron, electron, blah, blah, blah. All right. And they put it together in mental ideas to how man was created. Well, we weren't created on planet Earth, and we didn't come here by a comet. People, there were 9 races brought here. We're separate. We're intermingling and becoming one, yes, but we were separate. I mean, tribal people, all tribes tried to keep their tribe in one condition, togetherness, but it broke down. Always did, always does. And usually it's forced on them. When they came into the United States and every cavalryman raped the women and all that, children were born, half-breeds. And that's why you hear so many native religion and native people and all that, because they were all forced into a reality. The true native people never wanted to breed with the white race, Chinese race, black race. But the black race and the red race actually ended up becoming brothers. For either one to survive, they had to be like the other. When they were killing the native people became slaves with the black people. When they were killing all the slaves, the black people ran into the tribes with the native people. They kind of work together. But why is it the black people have all the space they do now and the native people don't? All right, there's horrible programming going on. Mankind has twisted everything. And I always said, you don't like it here, go back to your own country, no matter what tribe you came from. But if you're a United States citizen, where are you going to go? All right, native people that were born here, that were always here, where are they supposed to go? They can't go back to their own country. Black people always could. Chinese people, Japanese, all those kind of people go back to where they came from. And they probably all should. And left the native people. They would have did the downfall of their own selves. Because nobody had spiritual truth ever. And nobody wants to believe Jesus was a real person that had incredible teachings to give to the world. No alien race is going to come down and save mankind. They already gave us deadly weapons to destroy it. When we talk about spiritual, think about it, people. What does it really mean? Aliens are not spiritual. Abduction is the most evil thing a person can do. And the government can't talk about it. The UFO world's covering it up and don't talk about it. But I do a show every Tuesday with a woman that's been abducted most of her life. And she's very sick because she's actually radioactive. And many crazy, ridiculous things are happening to her body. But aliens aren't friendly. They're not a race from God. They're not a race from heaven, or whatever word you want to use. They're a race from this reality, which means they're the same, except they don't have feelings and emotions, so they're even less aware than we are. All right, people. I hope you accept something I said. If not, I'm sorry. I can only put it out there. It's up to you to decide if it's right or wrong for you, if there's a way for you to take a step forward. And there is. Text me, email me. You've got questions, please do. But again, I can only give you the truth. I can't lie. I'm responsible to one thing only, nothing else. And that one thing only is God. Not to any other person, being, creature, entity. Period. Not the government, not the priests, ministers, rabbis. None of them are important to me. Only God is. And when you come to the awareness that there is nothing else really more important, you can start searching that out and move closer to that and further away from it. Oh, the universe is God. The universe is part of the hell world that we live in. All the vibration, all the molecules, all the everything. Well, this makes sense. Well, you're in this energy. And that's all it can do. If God's energy came to this world, it would be destroyed in a split second. If it went into the astral plane, it would be destroyed. The astral plane would be destroyed in a split second. It stays in the higher world because that's where it vibrates. The highest vibration there is. You can't bring that into even a tuning fork, high-pitched tuning fork could shatter glass. Imagine something billions and billions of times stronger than that coming here. Everything would explode. Your brain would explode. Every cell in your body would explode. People, spiritual growth is incredible. It's the hardest path to choose, but it's truly the only important path that you can ever choose in any lifetime. All right. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Gregor. I'm glad you came on.
Yes, no problem. Of course.
And I just want you to realize I don't let too many people speak at all because I'm trying to get so many things out. But
Yes,
you can wait. You can talk to me anytime. I give you permission to call me anytime. You can ask me questions anytime. I don't give that to many people because I answer the same questions over and over. But somebody that's moving forward has a brighter idea, a more vivid imagination to think about things. So people, you want to ask questions, call me, text me, hawksblood1AOL.com. If I like to talk rather than write, Skype, my Skype name is hawksblood11. All right, people. Till next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, don't stop until you get it. And make sure it's the right thing that you're looking for. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Till next time.
Yes.
Raise my eyes to the wild blue yonder. I can't believe what I see, and it makes me wonder what's falling down on me. The sky